We had a guy on a 45-degree, 1,100-foot ice wall just lay down. He was from Taiwan, and he was like, I'm done. I'm done. If we would have left him there, he would have died. And we had to, like...
What's up, Saitos? Welcome back to the Sensei Says, a podcast through which I interview successful people in order to dig out some actionable advice, which hopefully will help you and me become a better human being. If you like the content we've delivered so far, please subscribe, hit the bell, like the video, share to a friend, and do not miss at the end of this episode, I've got two super promos for you guys, one for the YouTubes and the other one for the Apple Podcast. So watch or listen until the very end. I'm super excited about this week's guest because I am a mountain lover myself. I am a huge hiker, passionate mountain lover, and I met with Mark Pattison. He's a former NFL player from the Los Angeles Raiders turned mountaineer, and Mark engaged in the 7 Summit Challenge, which requires someone to climb the highest mountain on each continent, hence 7 summits. At the time of this interview, Mark had climbed 6 of the 7 summits, and Everest was the only one left. I really enjoyed the interview. I found it very inspiring and motivational, and I hope you will too.
I was super excited to meet you because I'm a mountain lover myself.
Yeah.
Not to your level, not yet, but so 7 summits.
Yeah.
That means that the highest summits in each and every continent.
It sure is.
You're almost there.
Pretty close.
So maybe tell me from the beginning of the story and on to Everest, which is coming, I think, pretty shortly.
Yeah, sure. Well, listen, I grew up in Seattle, Washington, very mountainous community, and I was very fortunate to play college football up at the University of Washington. Later, I was drafted by the Oakland Raiders. So I played in the NFL for 5 years. I went on, I started a family, I started some different businesses, and about 8 years ago, everything just crumbled apart. My long-term relationship with my now ex, 24 years married, 30 with her, fell apart, and it's not something that I wanted to have happen, but it essentially broke the family apart. We had moved from Seattle down to Los Angeles so she could pursue a career. And then my dad died of a massive stroke, and all these things kind of converged all at one time, and so it was very difficult. And I just had a hard time trying to get out of this stuck place. And there's nothing worse than feeling like you're drowning, you're treading water, you're not going forward in life, right? Mm-hmm. And so I finally popped out of it, and I changed my whole mindset by really changing the question of how did I get here to what am I going to do about it. And when I did that, it's like a whole epiphany came upon me. The skies parted, and what I wanted to do is do something athletically great. Now, I knew I couldn't go back and still play in the NFL, but I wanted to set my sights more on something that nobody else had ever done, and that was to climb the 7 summits and become the first NFL player to do that. So,
but why that challenge? I mean, when you say it like that, it seems like it comes from nowhere. I mean, what influenced you to pick that super precise challenge?
No, that's a great question, and the answer to that is growing up in Seattle, there's a lot of mountain people, and there's a lot of famous mountaineers that have come out of there. We have a big mountain up there called Mount Rainier. It's 14,500 feet, and a lot of folks come from all over to practice on Mount Rainier as they train for Mount Everest, right? And so I'd followed in the footsteps, or wanted to follow in the footsteps of Lou Whittaker, Peter Whittaker, and others. Probably one of the most famous guys is a guy named Ed Viesturs. So he's up there. So anyways, it kind of gave me the idea, and I've always respected those guys that had done Everest, but of course, I really wanted to start with square one. Where do I start? Didn't know that much about extreme mountaineering. And so I put the plan together. and went down to Africa, Tanzania, and climbed Kilimanjaro. And that was really the beginning of this whole journey. And I thought it would just be, you know, bing, 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 you just peel off mountains, but I forgot about Mother Nature, just like today, right? We're here at beautiful Lake Tahoe at the World Spartan Media Fest Championships, all this stuff, and we've got crazy weather. Snow's supposed to come in after Bluebird Day yesterday, and so I got pushed back a couple years ago on Denali, which is up in Alaska. We ran into minus 80-degree weather, and so so I had to go and redo that in 2018, which I did. And then was on Antarctica, down in Antarctica in January of 2019, and now I've scheduled to land in Kathmandu in April.
First mountain, you do it. How did you prepare, and what did you learn from that mountain on?
Well, I think it was really about the, you know, when you go into your mountain, you know, I'd been at altitude, but I'd never been at 19,333 feet, right? So it's about preparing, it's about packing the right stuff, it's about feeling your journey in the right way, and all these things I didn't know anything about. So it was really a lesson on how to prepare, better prepare, a lesson on how I do it at altitude, which I did really well. But also just, you know, having a sense that I can actually do this, or possibilities. And again, when you match that back with the tough time I was going through, of really stepping into the fear of what the unknown was going to be, traveling by myself, going to a foreign country, you know, going into Kenya and Nairobi and all these other places, you know, ultimately I had no idea what the outcome was going to be. I didn't know what all these other things, like starting my own podcast and being invited back to Kilimanjaro as part of a Water Boys fundraising project for the people of the Maasai tribe. So all these amazing things have come, but you know, you got to start with square one.
And what was Mount Rainier, was square one for you, or was Kilimanjaro the square one?
Well, yeah, so Mount Rainier is not one of the 7 summits, you know, but it's one of the higher peaks. It's certainly the highest peak in the state of Washington, where I grew up. And
because it's a huge square one.
And no, it's a big one, but again, I was just on it about a month ago, and it's you know, it's something where when I grew up as a little kid, I'd wake up and, you know, when it wasn't raining, you could see Mount Rainier out your window. And so I just had a hard time thinking about looking at this iconic mountain and not climbing that. It's there, so why not, right?
Get you. So what did you learn from your first extreme hike? So from your first of the great summits, were there anything that were different from what you expected, and what did you learn going on to the second summit?
Yeah, well, each one, I would say, it wasn't just one. You know, I don't think I had like all my ducks lined up just from that first summit, but it was certainly, you know, learning how to feel myself a little bit better. And then the next mountain I went to was in Russia, a mountain called Mount Elbrus. It's the highest mountain in Europe. And there's a guy that was killed from a lightning strike. And really what was learned there is where when we woke up in the morning, the weather was bluebird like today here, and then as we got going, the weather got really nasty. And so really understanding what it takes to prepare. And then really the first time I've been on a glacier, like a higher mountain glacier, is 18,000 feet plus, with crampons, and you're going up an ice wall, and you know, there's scary moments, you know, and if really like things can happen. And then the next year I went down to Australia, a fun mountain, I call it the Fun 7, a mountain called Kosciuszko. It's only like 8,000 feet. It's not a big deal. It's a day hike, but it's still one of the 7. And then the next year was really where the game really started to elevate to the next level, and I really started to have that confidence that I could actually see this thing through. I went down to South America's highest point in Argentina, a mountain called Aconcagua. It's 23,000 feet, just under. And you know, we started with 12 people in the expedition, and of the 12, only 6 made it. And so you're dealing with a lot of altitude, you're dealing with snow, wind, rain, you know, all these things, all these different elements. And so again, it's really understanding what to wear. They're the right puffies and the hat and the buffs and things like that, but also at the same time training better and training more efficiently, and then carrying the right stuff. And one of the things that's been my weak point is just fueling. I'm strong, but if you don't have the energy, you're going to crash. You're an athlete, you understand that. So if you don't hydrate and you don't have the right protein bars or whatever, you're ready to go on the moment, then you can crash.
You can train as hard as you want and run all the marathons in the world, but see it come hiking day or climbing day, if you don't bring the right gear, or if you don't have the right nutritional backup, you're going to be screwed maybe midpoint up the hill, and you don't want to get stuck in that situation.
You don't. And then the next mountain after that, I went to Denali. This is now 2017. I went to Denali, which is up in Alaska, and it's probably as tough a mountain as I've ever been on. And one of the things that makes it tough is that you're carrying 137 pounds up the mountain.
Ouch.
So you can think about that on your back and on a sled, and then you're going up the steepest hills you've ever can begin to imagine, along with being in the deep powder. I mean, it's very intense. There's avalanches every single day. There's crevasses that you have to navigate all the way through. And we got up to about 14,200 feet, and there was this lenticular cloud that was right on the top of the mountain, and it just wouldn't go away. It was minus 80 up there, and we just kept waiting, and then we got in these big snowstorms, and we were in our tents for 7 days in a row, and finally we just had to call it. And that's where Mother Nature kicked in, you know. And it wasn't fun because I go, God, man, I got to go back and redo this whole thing, which I did in 2018, and I just had my fingers crossed. We had bluebird weather the entire time, and made it all the way up, made it down safely, and so I was able to take that and thankfully say that I never have to go back and do that mountain again. And then in January I was down in Antarctica, as I'd said before. Yeah, just had an amazing experience. You know, it's such a unique place. You know, there's really no life down there other than what you fly in and fly out during their 3 months. Mm-hmm. It's where the South Pole is, and a lot of penguins, you know, and it's really kind of a shorter, colder version of Denali, and you know, that was number 6, and like, wow, I can't believe it. It seems like I've been doing this now for a long time, even though it's only been 7 or 8 years, but here I am at the front door of Mount Everest.
Going back to that time you had to go back and not achieve the summit you wanted to achieve because of the weather. How do you deal with that? Let's call it a technical DNF.
Well, you can call it whatever you want to call it, but the bottom line is it's disappointing. It's hard, you know, because I'm a very competitive guy, playing in the NFL, having to fight and chew and just claw your way to the top and then maintain there once you get there. It's really hard. And so one of the things I've found over time is that my greatest strength is never giving up, and my greatest weakness is never giving up. Right?
There you go. Yeah, I get you.
But you got to understand that I've got 2 daughters. You know, back home I've got my lovely girlfriend right here, Darcy, that's in front of me, and that loved ones that, you know, it's important for me to come back to the States and do it the right way. And one of the things that's been frustrating, take Mother Nature out of it for a minute, but it's been frustrating to me that I always prepare harder than anybody. Now, there might be other people that prepare as hard as me, but there's every single one of these groups I've been with, there's always somebody who just shows up. And in life, you can't just show up, and ultimately it catches up with you. And the mountains are not forgiving. And so we've had guys fall in crevasses. We've guys had fall down mountains. We had to pull back up. We had a guy on a 45-degree, 1,100-foot ice wall just lay down. He was from Taiwan. And he was like, I'm done. If we would have left him there, he would have died. And we had to, like, figure out a way to get him down, carry his packs. I just had another guy on Mount Rainier that I guided on, 12,000 feet, bent over. He was out of shape, started throwing up. He was violently ill. Same type of thing. That wouldn't have been the case if we would have prepared. But I prepared, but then I get penalized for it. So that's been the frustrating, right?
Yeah, I get you, absolutely. We lived the same situation a year ago when I did the Agoge, which is the most extreme race in Spartan racing, aside with the death race. 60 hours. It's learning modules, but we walked and hiked and climbed maybe 150 kilometers in that weekend. No sleep whatsoever, no caffeine allowed, no simple sugars allowed, and that thing happened. I mean, there are some people, I mean, a majority of people train because they respect the challenge, but a few people just show up. So you've got DNFs like in the first 6 hours of the event. So respect your challenge, don't take it lightly, and prepare as hard as you can, and not just physically. I mean, just the gear and everything. I mean, it's just as much as part of the success of your challenge as the physical aspect of it.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too that to me is that the people who win ultimately, it's just not having a challenge and like, oh, I'm going to prepare for this, but to me, it goes to a different level. If you truly love something, you need to love the process.
Yeah.
And so, you talked about this crazy race of 60 miles or something. All the training that you did to lead up to it, it's the journey. It's not the end result. And I was saying this yesterday, that there hasn't been one time where I've got to the top of any mountain. Of course, we high five and we hug and everything, but it's just like, okay, I still not have another. I've made it only halfway, right? It'd be like this Spartan race of crazy mountain, all over the mountains, right?
Yeah.
At the top of the mountain,
you're right.
They high five, but wait a minute, we
have to go down now.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of these people on K2 and Everest and these other places get in real trouble, is because they only plan to go halfway. They think that's their round trip, right?
Absolutely.
So it's loving the process.
So maybe 3 pieces of advice for people watching that are either contemplating doing the same thing as you are, maybe extreme mountaineering, or just a physical challenge, tough mental challenge that's ahead of them. Maybe 3 pieces of advice on how to be successful at that.
No, I get it. Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing for a lot of people is they get stuck, like I was, and the reason why they don't step forward is because they're not stepping into the fear, right? And so that's the first thing, is step in the fear. And I'm not talking about doing something, extremely crazy, but like, what are your fears? And if those are your fears, then go towards those. And so mine was, when I was going through my divorce, my dad died, like, what's going to happen? Where's my life going to go? Are my kids still going to love me? All these different things. And it turned out that by going through all this stuff, so much more greatness, like this conversation I'm having with you. I would have never been in this position of being in Tahoe and having this convo with you if I hadn't stepped in the fear, started a podcast.
Yeah, there you go.
And doing all these other things.
Same
right?
here. Absolutely.
Yeah, so
I get you.
all the way back. So so number 1 is stepping in the fear. Number 2 is live with purpose. Number 3 is be passionate about the process that you're trying to achieve that particular goal.
All right. And why Everest last?
Well, it's the biggest, baddest boy in the block, man. We're saving the best for last.
All right, when is it? When is it happening?
It is happening. I'll be over there in April. If anybody wants to follow the journey, they can follow it. Mark Pattison, NFL.com.
The best of luck, and I'm crossing fingers. This time around, Mother Nature is going to be on your side.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow, I really think this interview is the most visual I've done so far. So if you're listening right now on the Spotify's or the Apple podcast or the Google podcast of the world, please go out of your way to find the interview on YouTube, senseisays.link/YouTube, because the visual is interspersed with pictures from Mark's expeditions, and it's just bone-chilling. It's magnificent to witness. And speaking of the YouTubes, we've just passed the 400 subscribers mark. And first of all, thank you for everyone who subscribed. Second of all, I just want to remind you that as soon as we get to the 1,000 mark, I'm going to release our super duper virtual event, which marked the podcast launch a couple of weeks ago. Mark was amongst the guests, so you really don't want to miss that. He told us a lot of stories about his Everest climb. Second promo, I promised you, we've just been released on Apple Podcast, #Yeah and Rock On. So we need your support to push and pull this podcast through the moon. So please subscribe on Apple Podcast, review, leave us a 5-star rating if you think we deserve it, and write down a positive review so we can hijack the Apple algorithm and dominate the world together. Now let's revisit my discussion with Mark and review some of the advice we've learned from him. First, step into the fear. Don't let anxiety stop you from engaging in an endeavor or any action whatsoever. Oftentimes, your fear is not a sign of something you cannot do, but something you should do. You're just afraid of the unknown. Number 2, live with purpose. Give yourself constant challenges. Whatever the size, regardless of the nature, challenges are going to keep you evolving and growing. Third one, and my very favorite one, enjoy the process. It is not about the finality. It's about everything you will learn from the moment you just said yes to the moment you cross the finish line, regardless of your challenge. It's the post-mortem part of the challenge when you realize how much you've learned and how much you've grown since you just said yes, since you just accepted an endeavor. So enjoy the process and be proud of yourself. Now, as in every podcast, what I really like to know is what you have learned through this interview. So please leave it in the comments or reach me on my social at Sensei Says Pod. If you've liked what you've heard or seen today, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, share to a friend because the info might help him or her out. Like the content, and if you want to receive our podcast fast and first, you may also subscribe to our newsletter. On that note, I'll see you on the next interview, and Saitos, you are dismissed.
And I couldn't think of a better way to spend New Year's Eve in Las Vegas than being face down in a puddle of mud doing push-ups with 15 total strangers. So I did that.
We get stuck in certain situations, and if we recognize that our biology has some amount of control over what we're doing, that we're stuck in certain situations, we might be able to get out of